Hey lovelies, it's Unique Tina here. So today we'll be learning how to make this love shape structured sleeve. So this is the materials I'll be using for the tutorial. This is the paper that I'll be using, the Ankara. You can use any fabric of your choice, either Ankara or damask or George fabric, any fabric of your choice. Then this is the interfacing that we'll be using. This is a heart stair. You can use a collar stair or any other interfacing of your choice. We'll be using the heart stair for the sake of the tutorial. So I'll go ahead to fold my paper into two like this with 4 inches width, and then the length of the sleeve I'll be making it 10 inches. Note that this 10 inches, it's not compulsory. You can do any length of your choice. You can either make it longer or shorter. It's just a matter of choice. So I've gone ahead to mark 10 inches because that's the length I want to be using, and ensuring that my width is 4.5 inches. So I'll go ahead to cut it off like this. I'll just cut it off. While the paper is on fold, you just take your pencil and draw a love shape, just like as you see me do. I'm trying to draw a love shape on the folded paper. I'll just go ahead to use my marker to draw it again, so you have a clear picture of what I'm trying to draw. I'm using my marker now to draw the line so that you see it very well. You see the shape of what I'm trying to draw. So I'll just go ahead to cut it off. I'll trace the paper again on another pattern paper because this part is going to be 2. Mind you, each of this sleeve has 4 parts. 2 is for the main fabric, 2 is for the lining. So I'll be cutting off another part that will serve as the lining part of the sleeve. That is what I'm trying to do here. So I'm just trying to cut out another part that I will be using for the lining. So this is what the shape looks like after cutting. After cutting, you have a shape that looks like a love shape. I'll go ahead to fold the paper into 2. Then I'll use my tape to measure round the love shape, just half of it. I will measure half of it, just like as you see me do. So when you measure round, you see how I'm taking my time to measure it, so to avoid mistakes. So we just have to measure it. And over here I was having about 14.5 inches. So if you multiply by 2, you'll be having about 29 inches. So the second part of the sleeve that we are going to cut will be 29 inches. Then you see how I'm trying to measure it like this. I'm trying to get the perfect length while my paper is on fold. Then the width, I'll be doing about 4 inches. Yes, I'll be doing about 4 inches for the width because I don't want it too big. Then I'll be using 29 inches, just like as we measured, because this part is going around that love shape, so it has to be the same measurement. So as you can see, I've marked my 29 inches, so I'm trying to cut it out on the paper. This part is on fold, though I'm still going to divide it later. After cutting, I'm still going to divide it because I'll be using one to turn the other one. Like I said, one is for the main fabric, then the other one is for the lining. So after that, I'll just have to fold it into 2, like you see me do. I'll fold it into 2, then I'll measure half and 1 inch from the other point. Yes, from one point I'll measure 1 inch, just like this. Then I'll also go up by 6 inches to measure the part, because we don't want any edgy parts. We want that place to be curved so it can relax very well on the armhole area. So I'm just going to use my pencil to connect it down to that 1 inch, just like as you see me do. I'm using my marker to draw the lines again, so you have a clear picture of what I was trying to say. So this is how it will be. Then I'll just go ahead to cut it off because we don't want any edgy parts, because this part is going to be relaxing on the armpit area, so we don't need any straight edgy part. So I'll go ahead to notch the middle because this is where we'll be sewing from. As you can see, my paper is still on fold. I'm still going to cut it, but let's just leave it for now. So this is what we have after everything. As you can see, the love shape part is 2, then the other one is also double. So this is how we are going to sew it round. You see why I notched the area, so that we'll know where we are going to start from. Then I'll go ahead to cut the part, transfer the pattern to my fabric. Just like as I was saying, everything I did before, I'm just going to transfer them to my fabric, like as you see me do. So we're going to cut 2-inch material, just like this, 2 inches, that I'll be using to pipe the inside part of the sleeve, because we are not going to be turning. Yes, I'm not going to be turning it, so I'll be using 2 inches like this to pipe the sleeve. I'll also measure it. Remember, we had 29 inches, but I'll be cutting about 30 inches. It's better to have extra than it's not being enough. So I'll cut that 30 inches aside. So this is what we'll be using to pipe our sleeve. So I repeat the same process on the interfacing. So I will just go over to my ironing table. I will iron them, press them together, then I'll come back to show you guys what it looks like. So guys, I'm done ironing. As you can see, they are neatly glued together, so I will just go over to the sewing machine to sew it. So I'll be joining these two together, wrong sides facing each other. Then I'll use 1/2 inch to sew it round. As you can see, wrong sides are facing each other. I'll use 1/2 inch to sew it round, just like as you see me do. I'll sew it round, and then I'll go over to turn the other part of the sleeve. As you can see, I've divided it into 2, from the straight part, not the curved part. Then I'll be using 1/2 inch to sew the curved part round, because that is where we are going to be turning the material. We'll sew that place around and we'll turn it from the other parts. Please don't get me wrong, we'll sew the curvy part with 1/2 inch, just like what you see me do. Then after that, we'll notch it so that we can be able to iron it and press it very well. You know, when you sew curvy parts on it, it's advisable for you to notch it, so when you iron it, you end up having a very good press. So I'll go ahead to turn it. As you can see, I'll turn it, then I'll go over to my ironing table to press it and come show you guys what it looks like. So this is what it looks like after ironing. So you see the notched parts that we marked. That is where we are going to start joining the sleeve from. So you make sure that the 2 parts are meeting, so one side will not end up being longer than the other side. So I'll go ahead to sew it round like this. I'll sew it round. Ensure not to sew to the very end of the sleeve. Just leave like about 1/2 inch. You see where I'm showing you? You just leave about 1/2 inch, because that is where we'll be closing it from. So I'll go on to sew the other side, just the same way I did the other one. I will sew it, then sew it to meet the other one. Yes, but I'm not going to. I'll make sure that they are not climbing each other. No one is climbing each other. They will just meet, just to be close to each other. Then I'll go ahead to pipe it with the 2 inches fabric that we cut out. I'll use it to pipe it around, just like this. So remember that when we were cutting this piping material, we added extra inches. So feel free to cut off any extra inches that you got after sewing it round. So you go ahead to pipe it. Now the essence of piping is just to cover the rough edges on the sleeve. You see it, so you just have to fold it and use the material to cover it. That's the essence of piping it, so that the inside will not be rough. You know that we are not turning. So after that, we'll go ahead now to sew the other end that we left open. Remember that the other part, you can see that we didn't close it, so we'll just go ahead now to sew that part. This part I'm showing you now is not up to 1 inch, it's just about half inch. So you're just going to stitch it carefully so you have a very neat and nice finishing. Then you go ahead to cut off any extra so you can cut you can be able to turn it very, very well, just like as I'm doing. You see the way I'm trying to turn it and bring out all the possible edges that I can bring out. You can see. So I'll go over to my iron and press it. You see how the inside is looking very, very fine and neat. You see how it's looking. So I will just go now and iron it, come back and show you guys what it looks like. So this is it after ironing. You see how it's looking. You see how all the lines are very neat. You see how they appear very neat and fine. So I will just hang it on the mannequin to show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like on the mannequin. So you can just go ahead to pin it to the shoulder of your dress to tack and then embellish if you're using any other kind of fabric, maybe a George fabric or a damask fabric, any other fine fabric. So you can just go ahead to bead or you embellish, you add your appliques to it, and you see it looking very beautiful. So guys, I know you enjoyed this tutorial. For you to watch it to this extent, please do remember to like, subscribe, and if you have any question, feel free to ask in the comment section, and don't forget to put on your notification bell so you be notified anytime we post another video. Thanks for watching. Bye.